Hello everybody. As you know, I'm planning my trip to Florence in November of this year, and I'm doing research on how to travel to little small cities in and around Tuscany and do it all by myself, solo. So one of the things that I did recently was I signed up for some newsletters, travel newsletters like blogs, and I get these newsletters into my emails and then I research them. So this latest one I got was from thisisitaly.com. And the title of the segment, news story was top 11 secret cities in Italy. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to show you how I research each one of these cities, see if they are accessible by train, which is how I'm going to travel, if they're close and within a reasonable amount of time to get there, and what's there to see, and if these one of these cities, it will be on my list of places to go. So let me show you how I do it. It's a little time consuming, but what I like to do is write down the name of each of the cities that I see on this newsletter and use a combination of Google Maps, the Google search engine, and the Train Italia webpage to get me an idea of where these towns are located in relation to Florence, how easy it is to reach by train, and what these individual towns have to offer as far as exploring, shopping, and lunch. The first name on the list is Orta San Giulio, and the initial search in Google shows that the town is in the northern part of Italy in the Piedmont district. Next, I jump to Google Maps and I type in the same city to get a closer idea of where the city is located in relationship to Florence. So it looks like this is a small, quaint town just north of Turin, which makes it pretty far north but accessible from Florence. And just like my previous videos, I'm going to look into for that train icon and see how close that train is to the city center. It looks like the train station may be a little bit of a walk to the beach side of this little area and the peninsula that goes onto the lake, but I imagine there may be some buses or some taxis available to take people to the beach from the train station. So next I jump onto the Train Italia website to see how long it would take and how many trains it would take to get up to this little small town north of Turin. So as you can see, the quickest train takes a minimum of 4.5 hours to get there. Even leaving at 7:10 in the morning with 2 changes into slower trains, as it gets more closer into that countryside, I still won't arrive to this quaint little town until almost 2 in the afternoon. I don't believe this would be a viable option for a quick day trip, so let's see what the next city has to offer. Next city on that list is Rovereto. And again, I do an initial Google search for the town and see that it's also in the very north of Italy. Initial Google Maps search shows that Rovereto is actually located in a small valley in northern Italy. So I zoom in and I'm looking for that little train station icon to see whether or not it's accessible by train. It looks like the train station is right there in the center of the town and a quick walk to all the shopping and dining areas. So now I go on to the Train Italia website for generic weekday morning trains, and as you can see, there's one train that is a quick 2-hour, 25-minute trip, and it takes only 2 stops before it reaches the city. This definitely looks like a great option for a day trip for shopping and lunch. On to the next city. So that was a quick snapshot of the first 2 cities, one of which didn't seem like a really good viable option for a day trip, but the second one was. So I'm going to continue on kind of quickly and show you where these other cities are on the list, and then make a decision on whether or not they're going to be on my list of places to go. Hope you enjoy. The next name on the list is Monteriggioni. This is one of those typical hilltop medieval walled towns that dot the landscape in and around northern Italy. And the train station obviously is a few miles away because it can't obviously get up there, but it takes about 2 trains and about 1.5 hours to get there from Florence, which makes it a perfect idea for a day trip. But a little further research needs to be done about how to get from the train station up to the hilltop town, but I imagine they'll have a shuttle or a taxi queue for tourists. The next city on the list is Cisternino, and it's located in the heel portion of Italy, close to Bari on the eastern coast in the south of Italy. On average, it would take about 8 hours on a train ride just to get there, so I don't think this is really a good option for what I want to do for day trips out of Florence. Now Doza, it is located close to Florence, and it's extremely remote and doesn't even have a train station anywhere close to town. A quick research shows that I could probably take that direct train to Bologna, which is about 1 hour, and then there's a bus that'll get you into the town. It's known for its cute little art scene where it has painted walls It's got a castle, and it's also got a great wine scene. So this actually could be an interesting day trip. The next city is Sabbionetta, and it's in northern Italy, and it's remote like Doza, and doesn't have a train station in the town. So my initial research showed that it's going to be at least a 4-hour train ride plus an added bonus of a bus ride just to get into the city. And although it has a World Heritage Site recognition, I don't think that this will be a great option to do a day trip because of the long length of time it takes to get to that city. Now, Arpacale is a very picturesque hill town in the area very, very far north, close to the border of France. It overlooks the sea, and there's obviously no train station close by. And the quick research shows that the closest train is on the coast, and getting there from Florence would be at least 6 hours just to the train station, and then having to figure out how to get all the way up to that city on the hill. So I'm not sure if this is going to be a good option for a day trip as well. Now, Lama di Pellini, it looks like it's another small town in a river valley, and this is close to the east coast of southern Italy, east of Rome. So I don't think that will be a good option for a day trip because there's just as quaint of cities close to Florence that I would probably like to do better. Moreno di Calabro is located well south of Naples, and it's way too far south for me even to try to make a day trip out of it, so I don't think this is going to be an option either. Ivrea, it's located north of Turin and has a train station in town. Now it looks like a little bit of a walk to get to the shopping and the historic part of town, but Google Maps shows that there's walking paths that go over the river from the train station into that historic shopping district. It might actually be a good option for a day trip. The last city on our list is Coreto Cinita, which is well south of Rome, even 65 miles south outside of Naples in southern Italy. The train ride alone, just to get to the vicinity, will be 6 hours, so I don't think that will be an option either. So that's my research on 11 little towns that were in that blog that I got sent to me in my email, 4 of which are perfect options for me to do day trips in and around Florence when I go there later this year. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video on how I narrowed down 11 cities on a list down to 4 that make a really good option for day trips in and around Florence while I'm on vacation later this year. So next, I think that I will do a video that concentrates more on Florence itself. Since I've done a lot of videos that talk about everything outside Florence, let me go back and talk a little bit about what's inside Florence and the things that I'll do the days that I don't want to travel. Hope you enjoy.